I love to have these casual conversations, with no script or whatsoever. And
Sure.
what a better way to start my day than listening to your music. It's 7 in the morning in the Amazon rainforest. I am
Okay, you
here
are.
in. I am in the other part of the world. Yes, in Ecuador.
Yes,
Yeah. I love to
I
start my
know.
day
Yes.
by listening to Slowly. I really love that song.
Oh, cool.
Having a morning coffee with your first album, Afro Fire, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
I love it. Yes. So,
Great.
welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Michael and Gustav are my guests today from the Afro jazz band from Denmark, the KUTIMANGOES, right?
Yes, exactly. The KUTIMANGOES. That's us.
KUTIMANGOES, yes. Kuti and Mangoes. I think you are definitely fans of Fela Kuti, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like most other people that we have met. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Afrobeat. I lived in Germany, and I had a funky jazzy band back in the day, and we also used to play some Afrobeat.
Cool.
Yeah. So when did you fall in love with this kind of music? How did you get involved in playing these sounds?
Actually, I think that I was listening to the Mali singer Oumou Sangaré before I was listening to Fela Kuti,
Oh, really?
and I totally fell in love with her, the grooves in her songs, the way that the guitars, the string instruments, and the African drums are just the power of those rhythms
Yes.
were actually one of the first influences
Hmm.
that gave the idea to creating a band with these kinds of rhythms.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can hear that in your music. Absolutely. You guys groove. Like no other. And now Afrobeat and this kind of music, it might be a little bit complex too, right? It requires some time and practice to get into the groove and play those polyrhythmic beats. I was wondering, did you rehearse a lot before you played your first gig? How long did it take until you played your first gig? Do you remember that very first gig?
Yeah, I remember our very first gig, but I guess that most of the songs that we started out playing were not that hard to learn. It was
Mhm.
it was the songs from the first album,
Yeah.
Desert Moon and Fire and Slowly and Pass It On, and those
Mhm.
songs, they are, of course, it's not something that anyone can play, but the songs
Yes.
on our third album is we had a lot more trouble learning to play those songs live
Yeah.
than the first album. Yeah.
But I think I would say that one of the main things that, I mean, when you play the kind of music we play,
Yeah.
it's kind of a slippery slope towards becoming a funk band. and
Yeah.
and it's not that we love lots of funk bands, but we just knew that we didn't want to be a sort of strict straight ahead funk band. We wanted that other touch, that other sort of rhythmic sensibility. And I think that was a very conscious decision on our part to
Hmm.
include some more some global percussion from some rhythmic ideas from, of course, as you say, from West Africa, but also from other parts of the world too. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the other musical influences that you had other than African music?
We definitely like the sort of the horn driven
Yeah.
energetic music like Charles Mingus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
and of course, we also love artists like Bob Marley,
Hmm.
and
Reggae.
love a lot of Brazilian music and
Hmm.
a lot of also a lot of electronic music, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think we are really not very dogmatic when it comes to our influences.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
love so much different music. So one on the tour bus when we drive around playing, we listen to country music, and then we listen to Luciano Pavarotti, and then we listen to you know uh,
Mm-hmm.
Peruvian music from the 1920s, or
Yeah. Wow.
whatever, just
Uh-huh.
anything. So we just love and find it fascinating the way
Uh-huh.
music can affect us. Even though it comes from all over the world and from such different cultures. So, I mean, we're just
Mm-hmm.
on a constant search, and I can tell that you are, well, you mentioned you are a musician too, so I know that
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I love that too, and I think that's one of the fundamental things of being a musician. Like to be open to listen to so many different kinds of music from around the world, like to discover all that music.
Yeah,
For me and the drummer of my band back in the it was 2008 maybe when we discovered Afrobeat, and we were
yeah,
just amazed with the sound. We couldn't believe what was coming out of the boxes.
yeah,
It was really really cool. So
yeah.
Gustav, you play the trombone, right?
That's right. I
Guitar.
play trombone and guitar.
Yeah, and Michael, you are the saxophone player, right?
Yeah, we are two
Yeah.
saxophone players. So
Two
yeah,
saxophone. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the horn section of the band because I think that's a fundamental. You don't have a bass player actually, no?
No,
yeah.
well,
We have not a normal bass player. We have
Yeah,
the keyboard player who plays the Moog bass.
the Moog bass exactly because I heard that, yeah. And how when did you start playing the trombone? I would love to learn to play the trombone. I've been thinking about buying one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get these kind. I'll just recommend a trombone called a P bone.
Uh huh.
It's made of plastic, and
People.
it's quite cheap, and it works really well for beginners. It is just like playing a normal trombone actually. So it's a great
Yeah.
starting instrument. But in any case, I mean, yeah, I started as a child playing in marching
Yeah.
bands
Mm-hmm.
in Denmark, and then I started playing jazz music and playing in funk bands, and taking the usual, or I mean, in at least in Denmark, a pretty normal musical path.
Mm-hmm.
Studying music in the music school, playing in various different bands, and
Yeah.
starting to write my own stuff, and then um, that journey sort of ended away at the conservatory in Copenhagen, where I met Michael. We were
Mm-hmm.
studying on the same year at the conservatory in Copenhagen,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
So been making music most of your life. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what I love about probably the European culture. People that start making music and play music and going to the conservatory and stuff at a very early age, right?
okay.
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that it was different actually, but
I mean, especially when it comes, for example, to horn music, trombone
okay,
and saxophone. For example, here in Ecuador, I
yeah,
barely know people that can play those instruments. And
okay,
I think it's a wonderful thing, when you kind of
yeah,
start
yeah.
as a little child playing and experimenting with sounds, right? Mhm.
But that, I'm curious even because I mean I don't, to be honest, I don't know a lot of music from Ecuador, but I know
Yeah,
music from Mexico and from Brazil and from Argentina and so
yeah,
on, and I
yeah.
know that they have brass traditions also. Is it very different in Ecuador?
Might be, yeah, could be, yeah, might be.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you also talk about uh connecting people, cultures. We're talking about diversity right now, right? What would you say are some of the challenges maybe that we are facing right now in our societies? Maybe this is a different kind of question, but I was curious because you talk a lot about culture and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, I, it's not something that we have discussed a lot. The overall problems that we as a world are dealing with, but there's something. Uh, the way that you could say that the distance between right wing and left wing are getting bigger and bigger all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that we have experienced from the very moment we started playing concerts is that our music brings people together, and we feel that uh, we and together with the audience are creating something special together,
Mm-hmm.
no matter where we play. And there's definitely something we need stuff that brings people together, because there's so much stuff that brings people apart these days.
Yeah.
And music and cultural experiences are definitely one of the most important things that are doing this.
And yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I think a thing about music that's really that really sets it apart is, I mean, from our experience when we've traveled all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say not even just with Kutimangos, but also as musicians from very early on, um, the way we can make friends and communicate with people that we perhaps can't even speak with. That's really, I mean, it's a bit of a, I suppose, a very simple thing to say, but it's just very, it's a very special experience to be in the same room as someone else and being able to play music with them, even though we can't talk together, and um, that sort of common experience, I think, is something that's very central for music and is very central for what we love about music in the Kutimangos.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Can we talk? Yeah.
uh, no, I
Yeah.
just want
Go.
no, I just wanted to add that it's, I mean, it's also a question of, I mean, like when we have traveled in West Africa and played with some musicians from Burkina Faso and Mali, it's very clear that we have very different uh, very different backgrounds in terms of, I mean, what our musical, I mean, what can we play on our instruments, and what what's easy for us, what's difficult for us, and I think
Mm-hmm.
just, I mean, the recognition that everyone brings something that's unique and full of value to the musical situation, I think is a very is a wonderful
Yeah.
realization, because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it means everyone has something to contribute with, uh, whether it's um, uh, playing a style of music that you've been taught by your family growing up, or whether it's knowing stuff about how to arrange music on sheet music, or whether it's knowing how to create electronic beats on a sampler. All those things can contribute to the same experience, and I think that really tells something about how music can connect people.
Yeah, yeah. That was actually what I wanted to ask you a little bit about your experience in Africa, being there for the first time and playing there. It must have been as a very special thing, right?
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and it's coming from the Western world, where we focus a lot on harmonies and scales,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
especially when you play an instrument like the horn instrument. You are
Yeah,
taught a lot about scales and theory and harmony,
theory. Yeah. Mm-hmm,
and and that's, if you are growing up in West Africa, that's mainly not the things you learn about. You just pick up an instrument and sit next to somebody who can play, and then you learn what
mm-hmm.
they can play, and you get the music in through the ears. Uh, a lot
Yeah,
more than we do in the Western world, and that's
yeah.
definitely something that we have tried to learn in the Kutimangos, that there's a lot of stuff that we are now able to play that we learned just from listening to
Mm-hmm,
African
mm-hmm,
music. We have not tried to understand it or write it down. We have just
mm-hmm.
been listening to it so many times that it sort of, yeah, s-
Yeah,
stays
it's
within you. Yeah,
it's very interesting what you said, because I talked to, I don't know if you know Caleta. Kaleta Leon Majek. He was one of the guitar players of Fela Kuti.
Okay.
He lives in New York now, and he told me exactly the same thing, because I asked him if he can explain me how you play that kind of music, and he said, I can't explain that, and I just play it,
Yeah.
And he has this wonderful band, the Super Yamba band, Kaleta. You should check them out. It's really
Okay.
really cool. Yeah,
Let me
and
just,
he's a legend. Kaleta. He was one of the first guitar players of Fela Kuti, if I'm right.
okay. How do you
Yeah.
spell his name?
Kaleta, Kaleta, Kaleta.
Kaleta. And what's his second
Mhm.
name?
Kaleta Leon, Leon like Leon, Leon. Yeah, yeah. He
Okay.
was an ex Fela Kuti Egypt '80s
Okay.
guitar player. Yeah,
Great.
yeah. He's wonderful. And we had a really interesting conversation with him. And he also mentioned about this political part of Afrobeat and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, all the stories that he mentioned. So can we
Sure.
talk about your gear? I have this section in my podcast where I love to listen to all your gear, what you play, how you create your sounds.
We love talking about our gear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm all ears.
Okay. So, I mean, we have expanded our gear quite considerably, I would say, during the past few years.
Mhm.
Michael and I, we have a running competition on who can have the most gear. Uh, and we as horn players, we all of us have effects pedals that we play with.
Mhm.
So apart from having, I mean, I play a trombone and I also play a valve trombone,
Mhm.
and both Michael and Aske play various different saxophones. So we carry a lot of stuff to all our gigs,
Mhm.
and then I mean, for as a fun experiment, we we have been we've been working with electronic elements and effects
Mhm.
pedals. So we all have stuff that we program and that we can play with, almost as if we are playing like an electric saxophone or an electronic trombone, I guess you could call it.
Cool. Yeah.
So I mean, that's a big part of our sound now.
Mhm.
And we've also added a lot of, I mean, on the first album that you were talking about earlier on, it was a pretty rootsy acoustic setup, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now we have samplers, we have synthesizers, we have um, some tracks that we are playing on some songs. And so I mean, we are just really always on the lookout for new sounds and new ways to work with sound. So yeah, I guess we'll never finish buying new gear and trying stuff out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We can listen that in your last album, right?
Yes,
Afrotropism
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
was released in 2019. That's your latest album.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So
critically,
so when
yeah.
we did this last our third album, there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of stuff that we I would say we recorded the songs that, but you could say maybe that the songs were only like 50% done when we recorded them.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to we tried out so many different stuff when we were producing the album, trying to
Mm-hmm.
what would it sound like if the horns were cut up with this machine instead of just being regular horns, or how would it sound like if we added this effect on this. So the music is very produced on the third album compared to
Yeah.
the first album, which were pretty much played live in a studio.
Yeah. 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 Can we break down maybe one of the songs, and
Sure.
because I would love to hear from you. I don't know, maybe analyze it a little bit, the form,
Mhm.
melody, harmony, the chords, the orchestration,
Yeah.
Sure.
the rhythm section will be awesome. Yeah. So money is the curse, maybe. Can we
Yeah.
Sure.
break it down? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a funny. I mean, I can say the fun experiment
Hmm.
that started out was that we Michael, I think you had found a really cool pandero groove.
Yes.
You know, the Brazilian
Pandero.
percussion.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Actually, the main rhythm that that starts off in this in the song is from a pandero groove that
Mm.
that we used, and it's a bit technical, but we used it to sidechain with
Mm-hmm.
the keyboards. So what that means in layman's terms is that um, the Pandero groove is controlling what the keyboard plays. So it's almost like the
Uh-huh.
Pandero is playing the keyboard, if you could say it like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So we
okay.
took that groove and then we worked from that.
Yeah.
um, and the song has a very slow build up in the sense that we add. I mean, it starts off with just a few instruments, and then more instruments are added bit by bit, and then
Mm-hmm.
after maybe what I would like to say maybe 2.5 minutes. That's when we hear the full band come in. So it's very long build up,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
we
It's a
we wanted
very powerful song too. No?
yeah, we wanted to create a lot of tension because
Yeah.
then when that tension gets released, it has a really dramatic effect.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and also it's a way of sort of doing something that's a bit more, I guess, like clubby or electronic than we would normally do, because that's it's a classic sort of club music or DJ trick to kind of do the bass drop after you've built a lot of tension. So we said let's see if we can do that, have that same kind of effect.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we were recording the three horns together. We were standing round the same microphone, the three of us,
All right. Okay.
and we recorded with uh, tenor sax and baritone sax and deep trombone, just the three of us playing together.
Mm-hmm.
And when we reached the solo part, the improvisation part, we were just playing, and the plan was maybe originally to just play a solo like you would normally do, but then later when we were producing the album, we Gustav came up with this idea of it sounds like it's the horns are cut up,
Mm-hmm.
and we tried a lot of stuff to 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 sort of have the vibe of the horn solo connect much better to the whole energy of the song, so have it very mysterious and kind of broken. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Instead of
For
have a
sure.
acoustic jazz solo on top of it, we were
Mm-hmm.
trying to make this like also have a lot of tension and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, weirdness of, yeah, I would say.
Yeah, and then the last part of the song is, or the kind of the contrasting part of the song is a sort of a riff that we play after that in two places that we just repeat continuously, and it's kind of like, I mean, I remember my brother said to me, "Are you playing salsa music now? Because it sounds a bit like kind of a salsa riff or something."
Yeah.
And it has this sort of salsa, a bit funky maybe, and we wanted to create something that has a much more, or sort of not so dark a feeling, but
Mm-hmm.
more kind of dancing and uh, yeah, a bit more funky maybe than the other
Mm-hmm.
parts of the song.
Yeah, and you could also say that it, it has a totally uh, other sound because of, yeah, the first parts are very much everybody plays their own part, and in this part we all play the riff in unison, and it's a very strong thing when a whole band really plays
Yeah.
a riff together, and
Yeah.
that's definitely also a big part in having this shift.
That sound. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. That's so brilliant to hear all that. Um, and you are also a Grammy Award winning band, right? You won a couple of Danish
Yeah,
Grammy Awards,
we
right?
are very yeah. I mean, last year we
Mm-hmm.
were the Danish Roots Band of the Year. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what they call it. So yeah, we are very pleased with that. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's always it's a very strange thing to sort of have to evaluate music like that, and
Mm-hmm.
give out prizes and saying this is the best album of the year, when
Yeah.
we all know that that's not true. But at the same time, I have to be honest and say that we really enjoy the recognition, because we work really hard, and are very proud of what we do. So when someone else says, well done, we're happy to take it.
Yeah, yeah. That was what I wanted to ask. So the part of the recognition, I think it's always important. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and one thing is that how we receive this,
Mm.
and another thing is that it's received also in the music business. So when we talk to a guy like you, or we talk to a festival in France, or if
Mm-hmm.
they hear that we won a Danish Grammy, then of course they know that we must be among the greatest Danish bands. So that's a way to yeah yeah to make sure that people understand that this is good stuff, if you could
Mm-hmm.
say it like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I think you also have quite an audience in Germany, right? I saw one of your pictures on Instagram. You even play in this small city where I live,
Wait.
Bielefeld.
Oh, Bielefeld, yes, that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
I
We
lived there for
okay.
ten years or so. I studied there, and that's where I also make music.
Oh, fantastic.
Bielefeld, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you play, Ivan? Just
Bass guitar, yeah,
okay, bass guitar. Okay.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
have we
bass
have
guitar.
may have a spot for you in the Kuchman.
Yeah, when you come on tour through
Yeah.
South America, yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
maybe we can do something here in the jungle.
Would be great.
Yeah.
Would be great.
Do you know
Yeah.
if we have an audience in Ecuador, or is it mainly you?
Yeah, I think for now, me and my friends, but I'm gonna promote the podcast here so more people will get to know you, because I think that is also what you. I mean, for sure, you deserve more attention here, also in Ecuador and South
We
American
would love to.
countries.
I mean, and I think
Yeah.
it would be a lot of fun for us to also to. I mean, there are so many great musicians from South America, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it would be, and so such a lot of music that we can really easily relate to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have
Mm-hmm.
so many things in common. I think with a lot of music the music
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
South
Yeah.
America, that I think that it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
This has been a lot of fun, making this podcast and discovering so much music. Last week, I was talking to Joshua Camp from New York.
yeah.
He knows a lot about chicha music, from Peru, Peruvian cumbia.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That was something kind of new for me to listen again to that kind of music. I didn't pay too much attention. It's really interesting. You mentioned something about Peruvian music from the 20s.
No, I think I got that mixed up. It was actually Peruvian um, surf music from the '60s.
Oh, surf
We
music
were
from the
listening
60s.
to.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's a weird combination of stuff, but just really kind of
Yeah.
fascinating. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, but no, I mean, we have been playing a lot in Germany since
Mm-hmm.
since the last, I would maybe 5, 6, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a German label, and we have a lot of really nice German partners and people that we work with. So, and
Nice.
Denmark is. I know that Ecuador is quite a small country, and
Mm-hmm.
I would guess that Denmark is probably even smaller than that. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's a limit to how many times the KUTIMANGOES can play concerts in Denmark. So.
Yeah.
I mean, and plus, we love to travel. I mean, as we mentioned before, a big part of this band is meeting new people, and I think there's no better way to travel than through music. So, uh,
Absolutely.
really early on, we decided that we would spend some, invest some time and energy in building up a German audience. So
Hmm.
we've we,
How do you travel with so much equipment and gear? Do you have
we have a really
like a van?
yeah,
Yeah.
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 large band, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Where
Cool.
Denmark is right next to Germany, so
Yes.
we can drive, and
Hmm.
of course sometimes when we play a festival, like maybe in Spain or whatever, we need to take a flight, of course. But then
Yeah.
then we send out a list of backline that we need, and most of the places take care of that in a pretty good way,
Nice.
and
Mhm.
we have had flight cases built for all the saxophones, and so we can bring most of the gear. Yeah.
Mhm. Nice. I also watch your video.
Hmm.
And the photos. You are here in a forest, no? I love nature, so I was wondering, is this in Denmark? Is that a Danish forest where you?
Yeah, that's actually in the backyard of the other saxophone player's house. He
Oh,
lives in
that's
he
really.
lives in the countryside, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
just like me. That's it looks beautiful.
Yeah,
yeah,
it
Yeah.
was a very nice summer's day, and just
Mm-hmm.
if I think if the camera had been facing the other way, you would have seen his house.
Oh wow, cool.
Um, but yeah, we thought it was also a very nice picture of the very green Danish countryside in summer.
Yeah, countryside, Copenhagen.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean like 20 minutes outside Copenhagen.
yeah.
Yeah.
cool. Are you working on something new right now? Can we expect a new album or single coming up next?
As
Yes.
we more or less as we speak, I would say. Well,
Oh, really?
we are not working on something right now, but we just bounced a new track for our. We have a recording session with the band on Monday,
Oh, cool.
and we just finished a track that we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I mean we have been working on this for a little while now,
Mm-hmm.
recording some new songs to come out next year.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we'll see. It's a work in progress, but we have we've decided to um, to do things a bit differently than we've been doing before. So we have we have 10 recording dates lined up with the whole band, and then our plan is or to record one song every time we meet,
Mm-hmm.
to sort of
Mm-hmm.
as a creative um, yeah, what could I say, like a new way of creating music. And then
Mm-hmm.
we've got a demo lined up for the band, and then we will meet up on Monday morning, and we'll listen through it, and we'll rehearse, and then by the end of the day the song will be recorded. And yeah, so it's a new process for us, where we try to do things a bit
Yeah.
more spontaneously and a bit
Mm-hmm.
more quickly than before. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But sounds like a good work in progress. What
Yeah,
you're doing now, because
it's fun. Yeah.
yeah, sure, sure. Because I sometimes I also think like having a band, especially a big band, can also be. I don't know if the word is stressful, but it requires also some organization, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, yeah.
you could put you absolutely a lot of
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah.
But I mean, we
Absolutely.
are we are very lucky to have to have. I mean, besides our bandmates being great musicians, they are. I mean, we just
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy hanging out with them.
Yeah, that's
And
important, right? Yeah.
as I mean, we spend so much time on the autobahn, so we have to. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if we didn't enjoy each other's company, we would kill it. I mean, it would not be worth doing, actually. So
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I know. I know.
yeah, you know what that I mean. And then and they are also very dedicated to the band. So
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm sure they could be in be working with lots of other musicians, they make it a priority
Yeah.
to spend a lot of time with the KUTIMANGOES. And that's just, I mean, that's really, I mean, invaluable, I would say.
That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. 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 So it was fun. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
yeah, that's
Sometimes
good.
my guests play a little bit at the end of the show, but I don't know if you have your horns with you right now.
Uh,
Probably not, right?
no, not so we can
Uh,
play something right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
No.
yeah. Absolutely, no worries. But maybe we can play one of your songs right now at the end of the show.
Sounds
No?
great. Good idea.
Do you have like a favorite? I don't know if this is
Yeah,
good to know.
and I would like to hear what if you should say your favorite three Mango songs. What are they?
Fire. I love Fire. I love Slowly, as I said. That's a song that I play pretty much every morning when I having my my morning coffee.
Hmm?
I love to start with that, and yeah, for sure, Money is the Curse. I love it too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, any of those. I mean, maybe Money is the Curse is a good idea since we've talked about that. So
Yeah,
people can
like-
can hear some of the things for themselves.
yeah, everybody should go on and listen also to the KUTIMANGOES on Spotify, right? We can find your music. You're
Yes.
also on Instagram.
Of course, we are. Yes, indeed.
KUTIMANGOES.
Yeah.
And yeah, is there anything else you want to say before we?
Well, I mean, thank you for getting
Sure.
up early. Even I know that
Yeah.
I know that it's early for you. So thank you very much for doing that, and thank you for
Yes.
reaching out. I mean, as we said before, South America is new to us. So
Mm-hmm.
let's hope that this is a first meeting, and we'll see what happens.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely.
We would definitely love to visit someday.
Yeah, sure. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the KUTIMANGOES. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Around. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye bye.